Ah, the real JJY is tweeting, not that weird account from earlier, KJY. Oh, he's working out. Tweet that says source me. He's working out in an Arizona Cardinals shirt. Wait, he signed with the Arizona Cardinals? Holy shit. Hello everybody, I'm Bailey Leisure, and tonight on my channel I give my thoughts and my overall reaction on the big news that happened at the NFL world today as high-profile free agent J.J. Watt, former three-time Defensive Player of the Year, former All-Pro, and Pro Bowler and future Hall of Famer, shocked the NFL world today by announcing that he had signed with the Arizona Cardinals. So I will be giving my thoughts on the signing and my overall review on how good of a signing this was for the Arizona Cardinals. So the overall details of this signing. So this was a 2-year, $31 million deal with $23 million guaranteed. Now, there were, rumblings a few days ago that J.J. Watt wanted $15 million a year, which I don't think anybody was going to... People thought he was worth that much with his injury history, but he got that. It was not a discount that the Arizona Cardinals went out and got him. Now, people are a little bit confused that he was able to sign now, but he's not an impending free agent. He was, he had... The Houston Texans had released him. He wasn't an impending free agent, as I stated before, so he was able to sign prior to March 17th, which is when the new league year starts and when free agency starts. So he was able to sign with any team he wanted. The Cardinals, according to reports, they beat out several teams. Many teams were chasing after him, including the Buffalo Bills, the Cleveland Browns, the Indianapolis Colts, and the Green Bay Packers, amongst probably other teams that I have not stated. Obviously all those teams I stated were playoff teams, so it's a bit shocking he would go to the Arizona Cardinals. Just key notes going into next season, J.J. Watt will be 32 in the 2021 season. His 2020 stats on a bad Houston Texans defense, he had 52 combined tackles, 2 forced fumbles, and 5 sacks. Although he did play all 16 games, and a lot of his stats, he was double-teamed throughout the year. So the 5-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, and the 2017 Walter Payton Man of the Year really shocked everybody. And this type of news is why rumors and interest and those type of reports don't mean anything. The only reports that really are official when teams are closing in on deals or when they're officially announced. I mean, it was just useless information at this point until it's officially announced, or even how J.J. Watt did it. Maybe it's not official until the actual player announces it. But it was definitely shocking because I don't think anybody had, even in Arizona where I'm from, I don't think anybody thought one of the top teams to go get him, and the team that would eventually get him would be the Arizona Cardinals. This is also kind of the second year in a row in March where the Arizona Cardinals get a high-profile player from the Houston Texans, so that's pretty big for them again. But as far as people thought he was going to go to the Packers because he's from Green Bay and they were in the NFC Championship game. People thought for a little bit he was going to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers and play with his brothers, T.J. Watt on defense and Derek Watt, the fullback. Buffalo was, really interested. Indianapolis, like I've stated before, according to reports, the Colts, and I think the Browns offered him more money. People thought Cleveland was a big destination, to possibly team up with Myles Garrett. There were several teams that were interested in him, but the Arizona Cardinals ended up being the team that won out. So the positives of this signing, J.J. Watt, winning this, he got a lot of money. People think he's very old, just because of the injuries and stuff like that. He's actually 31 right now, as I stated before. He'll be 32 when the season begins. So he's a veteran, but he's not. He's below 35, so I think he's still got some miles left in the tank. But he got the deal probably him and his agent wanted. He gets also. I don't think at his age and with his injury history, it probably would have been smart to go to a cold weathered place. Maybe he could have gone to Tampa Bay if he wanted the rings, but I think Tampa Bay, they have a lot of impending free agents, including big time defensive players and Ndamukong Suh and Shaq Barrett, so that probably wouldn't have been an option, especially with the money J.J. Watt wanted to get. But he got a good deal for him, and you got to respect that. So even with the injury history, I definitely think the Arizona Cardinals team and especially their defense has gotten better. I think it's a better D. I think for one, he's going to fit better on the Cardinals than he did on last year's Texans team. With Chandler Jones coming back, I think that benefits both him and J.J. Watt because you're not going to be able to double team either of them. An interesting statistic in the last decade, or at least since 2012, they're one of the top sack leaders. Both of them have had the most sacks in the NFL. So it's really impressive, to be able to have, two Hall of Fame defensive players go on that defensive line. Or if they want to move J.J. Watt around, just having that. The Cardinals have, some other great defensive players as well in Budda Baker. If they bring back Patrick Peterson, the rookie last year, Isaiah Simmons, Byron Murphy. There's so many. The Arizona Cardinals defense, I definitely think they got better, especially after a really bad 2019 season where they were the worst defense in the NFL. But J.J. Watt I think will continue the improvement that the Arizona Cardinals defense did last year, and it will roll into 2021. For one thing, and the last thing I'll talk about, why the signing helps out, is the fact that it makes Russell Wilson's job in the NFC West much tougher. Obviously, within the last week or so, there has been some, really over the last few weeks, we've heard some rumblings about Russell Wilson not being happy in Seattle and the offensive line struggles, and he's been one of the most sacked quarterbacks, and that the Seahawks have been able, ever since they got to the Super Bowl and threw it on the 1-yard line, they have not been past the second, the divisional round of the playoffs. So he's definitely frustrated, and this is going to make his job even more frustrating, and that helps the Cardinals out if, he demands a trade, which I think is unlikely at this point, but you never know. So if this is potentially a move that gets Russell Wilson out of the NFC West, or just makes, it gets the Cardinals better, it makes the Seahawks worse, it helps out, especially in that tough division that is the NFC West. So obviously there's some negatives. Obviously the number one thing is his injury history. In his first 5 seasons, he didn't miss a single game. Although over the last he's only had in the last 5 seasons, he's only played 16 games twice in 2 out of 5 seasons. He's had a couple, season-ending injuries. In 2019, he missed a lot of time. He didn't come back to the playoffs. In that season, he did play all of his games last season. Although his statistics have suffered because of that. So I think just the big thing for the Arizona Cardinals is this will be a good signing if he's able to stay on the field. If he can't, then it's a bad signing. Like I've stated before, this is such a tough division, with the NFC West. You got the Rams, who the Arizona Cardinals have not been able to beat in the last few seasons. They already have a great defense, and I definitely think them getting Matthew Stafford improves them over Jared Goff. I think the only benefit you could really say the Cardinals have right now is that they're in probably a better cap situation than the Rams are right now. The 49ers, they're going to get healthy and they're going to improve and probably contend in the NFC again. The Seahawks, there's some question marks there, but, if Russell Wilson is still there next season, they're always going to be a threat. With Wilson, you can never really count the Seahawks out, but, there is struggles there. So, the Cardinals are definitely going to have to make some more moves if they want to be able to stay on pace for what will be just what I think could be a bloodbath that is the NFC West. Probably the biggest thing from all this, how much money that deal was that could be an issue is that the Arizona Cardinals have a lot of key free agents coming up, including longtime cornerback and former All-Pro cornerback Patrick Peterson, Hassan Reddick, the linebacker who had 12.5 sacks last season. He was considered a bust when he was drafted in 2017, but this year was really his breakout year, and of course it happened in a contract year. So with the J.J. Watt signing, it probably will smell the end of Hassan Reddick's time in Arizona. Larry Fitzgerald, we're still, as I'm recording this video, we're kind of on the retirement watch. We don't know if he's going to come back. And as closer it gets to free agent, there might be even question marks if he could, I know kind of the sentiment over the last few seasons is if he doesn't play for the Arizona Cardinals, he's not playing, but you never know with Larry Fitz. Marcus Golden, another pass rusher. They got a lot of free agents, and does this hinder them bringing them back? I definitely think it hinders them bringing back Reddick and possibly Patrick Peterson. But I think Golden, there's a good chance he comes back, and I think Larry Fitz, if he comes back, I think the Cardinals will work out a deal. But the biggest issue is the Cardinals have so many other issues they have to address. On the offense, parts of the offensive line, the cornerbacks. They need to, replace Kenyon Drake, who's also a free agent that they're probably not going to bring back. You need another receiver to pair up with DeAndre Hopkins. So, what this type of signing, does it hinder you from addressing some of those issues? And I think that's a valid question to ask. So my overall thoughts on the J.J. Watt signing is, while the Arizona Cardinals probably did pay a little bit too much, and definitely they have other areas that they need to address, including their impending free agents and their needs, both in free agency and in the draft. I definitely think the Arizona Cardinals team, and especially their defense, got better. And if him and Chandler Jones, are able to stay healthy, the Arizona Cardinals could really make some noise in their division and throughout the NFC next season. So what are your thoughts on the J.J. Watt signing? Leave in the comment section below. As always, click like if you like the video, and subscribe if you like the content on my channel. And as always, follow me on Twitter, on my 2 Twitter accounts, @Laser96 and @BillLaser. So thanks everybody for watching, and I will see you all later.